Right, so this is the paper 2 June 2012, sorry, paper 1, which you did as a test last Monday, and this is one that you're not allowed to use a calculator on. I've done what I normally do and shown you how far into the paper you need to get in order to be safe of the grades, using the grade boundaries that we've been using throughout September and October. So let's get stuck in. Right, down in figures, the number 50,244. So you work backwards from the units out. So 4, 44, 244. 50,000 means there's no single thousands, but 5 10,000s. So 50,244. And similarly, what we have here are 4, 304, 7,304, 67,304. Oops. And make sure you use all words. Using only the numbers in the following list, write down two numbers that add up to 46. So you're looking for a pair of unit digits that are going to add up to 6 or to 16, where you'd write the 6 down and carry 1. So 4 and 1 doesn't, 4 and 6 doesn't, 4 and 2 does. So 34 and 12 would be a good starting point, and 34 and 12 actually is what it is. So 34 and 12, there's no order, doesn't matter. Two numbers which differ by 39. So in order to have a difference of 9, so either going to be end in a 0 and a 1, or it's going to end in a 6 and a 7. So 6 and 7, 76 take away 37 is 39. So it's 76 and 37. And a multiple of 7 means it lives in the 7 times table, which goes 7, 14, 21. Right, that connect to the nearest hundred. So the 100 value is 6. So it's either going to be 600 or 700. It's 29, so it's closer to 700. So that number, sorry, closer to 600. So that number is going to be 7,600. To the nearest thousand, what we do is we look at the thousands column, which is 7. So it's either going to be 7,000 or 8,000, because that number is somewhere in between. And it's actually closer to 8,000 than it is 7,000. So the answer is 8,000. All the factors of 25 are all the numbers that divide into 25 exactly. 1 and 25 are one pair, and 5 goes in 5 times, so it isn't a pair, it's just 5. So 1, 25 and 5. Michelle uses each of the digits 4, 7, 3 and 8 once to make a 4-digit number. What is the largest number that she can make? So what you want to do is have the biggest digit in the thousands column, and then the next biggest digit in the 100, so that the largest digit is in the column with the largest power, the largest value, which is 8,743. When you're doing the other way, for the smallest number, what you would do for the smallest number is write that in reverse. Now you want the smallest odd number, so you would then switch those two values around. So 3, 4, 7, 8 is the smallest number. For odd, you want to move those two around. 3, 4, 8, 7 to make it odd. Okay, marks for that would be 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, and there you'd have 1 for 2 numbers, 1 for all 3, 1 and 1. Question 2. Write down the value of the 7 in that number. Well, as you can see, the 7 occupies the hundreds column, so its value is 700. Subtract 156 from 384. You could do it by counting on your fingers, or if you know a non-calculator method. This is the most common used now. You can't take 6 from 4, so you have to write it as 14 by taking a 10 from the next column. Then you can do 6 from 14. It is 8. 5 from 7 is 2. 1 from 3 is 2. And you can check, if you add these two numbers up, they should come to 384. 6 and 8 is 14. 4 down, carry 1. 7 and the 1 is 8. 2 and 1 is 3. So I know I'm right. Kate is a £20 note. A notebook costs £1.60. She buys as many notebooks as she can. How much money will she have left over? So if you round the £1.60 to £2 each, then she can buy 10. But 10 times £1.60 is £16. So she can buy more than that. So if 10 cost £1.60, another 2 would be another £3.20. So that comes to £19.20. So she can't buy another 1. So that means she can buy 12 books, and with £20, 12 will come to £19.20, so she'll have 80 pence left. Showing already working, find an estimate for this. So what you would do is round those off to numbers that you can happily deal with without a calculator. So you would round the first one off to 50, you round the second one off to 10, and you would do 50 times 10, which is 5 times 1 is 5 with 2 zeros. So the mark scheme for that is 1 mark for 700, 1 mark for 228, for C you get 1 mark for your method, 1 mark for 12, and 1 mark for 80 pence. And for D you get 1 mark for your method of rounding and 1 mark for your answer. So total for that page, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 18 marks on that page. Okay, question 3. The formula for the cost of buying a bicycle on credit is cost is monthly payment times 9 and a deposit. So find the cost. So that's what we're trying to work out. Monthly payment is 15 times 9 add 30. So you have to work out the multiplication first. using any method you want. So if you want to do a non-calculator multiplication, that's fine. If you want to say, well, 10 lots of 15 is 150, and then take off one lot of 15, you could do it that way. I would do it this way myself. 5 9s are 45, 1 9 is 9, add the 4, 13, so that comes to 135. Then you add the 30, so the cost is £165. So that's the straightforward part. Then what they always do with a question like this is then they will give you a part of this side of the formula to find out. So this time we know the cost is 220. We want to find the monthly payment, I'll call it M, times 9 plus 40. So what we've got there now is a simple equation that we need to get M on its own. So if the first thing we do is get rid of that add 40, if I need to get rid of add 40 from that side, I'm going to take 40 off. If I take 40 off that side, I've got to do the same this side. So this side becomes 220 take away 40. This side becomes M times 9. 220 take away 40 is 180. Now in order to get the M on its own, I've got to undo the times 9. The opposite of timesing by 9 is dividing by 9. If I divide that side by 9, I have to divide this side by 9 as well, which in algebra we write like that. And 180 divided by 9 is 20. So the monthly payment is £20. So 1 mark for the method, 1 mark for the answer, 1 mark for the method, 1 mark for the answer. Okay, question 4. Gethin has put some coloured discs into a bag. The discs are identical in shape, but some are coloured red, others black, yellow or green. He shakes the bag and pulls the disc out. He writes down his colour and puts the disc back into the bag. He does this 40 times. Here are his results. Using the squared grid on the opposite page, draw a bar chart for the data given. Okay, so in order to do that, the easiest thing to do first of all is to create a tally of the results. So we'll do colour, tally, frequency. So the colours are red, black, yellow or green. And when you're tallying, what is best to do is to check them off as you're doing, so you know that that one's being counted. So we've got B, B, G, R, G, B, Y, G, B, R, 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 yellow, B, and the fifth one you cross to group it in fives, R, Y, R, B, G, B, Y, G, B, R, B, B, Y, B, Y, B, G, B, G, B, Y, B, R, Y, B, R. So once we finish the tallying, we then total it up. So we've got that R comes out 9 times, B comes out 16 times, y comes out 8 times, and g comes out 7 times. So when we try to graph that, what we need to do is use as much of the space available as possible. So going up here, we're going to have the frequency, but it needs to go up as far as 16. So the first thing to do is to see if we can go up in ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. We can. So this axis, we're going up in ones. And this axis is the frequency axis, or you could call it number of colors, something like that. Now we need 4 bars going across, one for red, one for blue, one for yellow, one for green. And because it's just counting data, we're just counting how many of those, we're not measuring, we leave a gap between. So the first one there is going to be red, and red goes up to 9. Then we're going to go up for blue to 16. So that's blue. No, it's not, it's black. Next comes yellow, which is 8. And finally green, which is 7. So that's green. And this axis is color of disk. So that's the graph. Now that's worth 6 marks. So the first 2 of those 6 is on this page for tallying up your results. So there's 2 marks for the tallying, which takes the total on this page to 246. And then there's going to be 4 marks for producing the graph, and there's 1 mark for labeling the axes. There's 1 mark for a sensible scale. There's 1 mark for the correct bars. Sorry, there's 2 marks for the correct bars. So there's your other marks. The mode is the one that happens the most frequently. So the mode is black. And then in order to write down an estimate for the probability of choosing a red disk, what you need is to have how many times a red disk came out of the bag, which is 9, out of the total number of disks altogether, which is 40. He did it 40 times. So it's going to be 9 out of 40. And you get 1 mark for 9 and 1 mark for the 40. Okay, two overlapping rectangles, each 9 centimeters by 3 centimeters, are placed so as to make an L shape as shown in the diagram. Calculate the perimeter of the shape. So the perimeter of the shape is if I was to start walking there and walked all the way around the outside of the shape and back to the start, the total distance that I would have walked is the perimeter. So the problem with this is that I know the length of that side and that side and that side and that side, but I don't know these lengths here, so I have to work those out before I can calculate the perimeter. And what you'll see here is that I know that the total distance from there to there is 9, and from there to there is 3. So this distance must be 9 less 3, which is 6 centimeters. And similarly here, if that's 9 and that's 3, then that's 6 centimeters too. So now I know all the sides, I can work out the perimeter. It's going to be 9, add 3, add 6, add 6, add 3, add 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 written down, so I know that I've got all the sides there. So then I just total them up. I've got 12, 18, 24, 27, 36. And then for B, where I've got to work out the area of the shape, you need to split it into two rectangles. So if I split it there, I've got this area, which is going to be 9 times 3, which is all the way down to there. So A is 9 times 3, which is 27. And then this is a smaller rectangle here, which is 6 times 3. I call that B. So that's that bit. Equals 18. And then I need to add those together to get the total area. So 8 and 7 is 15. 5 down, carry 1. 2 and 3 and 4. And if you read the question, this is your units question. Write down the units of your answer. For area, it is centimeters squared. For this question, it's not telling you to write your units down. It's good habit to do so, but there's no marks for it. So perimeter is distance, so it's centimeters. Area is centimeters squared. So the total marks for that is for working out the missing sides. There's a method. There's a method for adding up, and there's a method for getting your answer right. And with this one, the method is working out or dividing your shape into two rectangles. There's a method mark there's an answer mark for 45, and then there's a unit mark for the units. So the total for that page is 1, 2, 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Question 6. So this is one of the first problem solving questions where you were given marks for the quality of your written communication. So there'll be 2 marks for explaining how you get your answer. Year 10 pupils have been asked to arrange the seating for a concert in the school hall. They work out that each row will have 12 seats on each side of the centre aisle. Each row will take up 2 meters of the 18-meter length of the hall. During all your working, decide whether or not there will be enough seats for 200 people. Okay. So each row will have 12 seats on each side of the center aisle. So your row is going that way and that way, and each row will have 12 seats on each side of the center aisle. So this row will have 12 seats, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So each row going across would have 24 seats, if that's the way that we want to go. Now each row will take up 2 meters of the 18-meter length of hall. So each of those is going to take up 2 meters. So the number of rows that you can fit down the hall, so number of rows that will fit will be 18 divided by 2 equals 9 rows. So you can fit 9 lots of tables and chairs down there, and then you can either work out what 9 lots of 12 is to work out how many will be in there and double it, or you can work out straight away what 9 lots of 24 are. 9 lots of 12 is easier to work with, so if we work with the left hand side, so on left of aisle we'll seat 9 lots of 12, which is 108 seats. It'll be the same on the right. Oops, can't write. So in total we can seat 2 lots of 108, which is 216 people. The question is asking, showing all your working, decide whether or not there will be enough seats for 200 people. There will be enough because we've got space for 216. So there will be enough space for 200 people. Right, so how does this one mark? So you get a mark for the number of rows is 18 divided by 2. You get a mark for the 108. 9 times 12 is 108. You get a mark for doubling that to get the 216, and a mark for saying yes, and then the quality of written communication is how you have explained that. So the QWC is 2, and obviously I'll have to look at yours to see that your spelling and whatever is okay. So that's that question. Right, now I'm not sure if this will fit on the page for 10 centimeters, but we'll give it a go. Complete an accurate drawing of triangle PQR. So R isn't there, so R is going to be up there somewhere. That's what we're going to find. In which PQ is 10 centimeters. Well, it's not. It's going to be smaller. RPQ is 36 and RQP is 112. So we can measure the angles okay. So RPQ means we're measuring the angle from P. Remember, the middle letter tells you where that angle is situated. So RPQ, R is up there somewhere, PQ is 36. So you take your protractor, put the center on P, line the 0 up with the line that we've got, and we measure 36. Now we know 36 is an acute angle, so it's not going to be very big. So it's going to be 10, 20, 30. 35 is the long line. 36 is there. So it's going to be on that line somewhere. We don't know where, so we just draw that line in. And then to find the other angle, RQP, so R is up there, QP is 112. So Q, put the center of Q, line the 0 up with PQ. And I know that 112 is obtuse, so it's going to be bigger than 90, 110, 111, 112, about there. Join those up, so you're joining from Q through the line like that, and where they cross must be R. So that's what we're looking to draw there. So the marks for that, you've got 1 mark for the first angle, 1 mark for the second angle, 1 mark for the triangle. Write down the special names given to angles that are greater than 90, but less than 180. You just mentioned that. That's what that angle is, and it's called an obtuse angle. So you'll have 1 mark for obtuse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 10 marks for that page. Calculate the height of a cuboid of length 4, width 3 and volume 84. You need to know that volume of a cuboid is length times width times height. Now I know the volume, it's 84. I know these two, 4 times 3, and I want to find h. That shouldn't be times, that should be equals. So 84, I can do 4 times 3 is 12. So I know that. So in order to get the h on its own, I've got to get rid of a times 12. I get rid of a times 12 by dividing, and then you need to know your tables, and you need to know that 12 goes into 84 7 times. So you get 1 mark for the method, 1 mark for the answer. Okay, question 8. The following table shows 4 places in the height above sea level. Explain what it means to write the height of Lake Eyre above sea level as -15. Well, it's because it's actually below sea level. Sea level is 0. So anything above sea level will have a positive value, anything that is below will have a negative value. Which place is the lowest of the 4? The lowest of the 4 will have the largest negative value, so it will be Chotmel here. How much higher than Chotmel here is Llyn Colwyd? So that is 355 above 0. So if you think that what we've got here, if there is 0, that's 355, and then chot is 40 below that. So the difference between the two is going to be that plus 40. Sorry. So we got the 355 above 0. There's 0. 40 is below it. So the difference between the two is going to be 395 meters. So 1115 for the page. Question 9, game of chance. 8 marks for this question. So as I said to you earlier this week, it is important you get your heads around this. So you need to get the information out of the question. So there are 4 balls numbered 1, 3, 5 and 7 in machine A. So here's machine A, there are the balls. And 4 balls 2, 4, 6 and 8 in machine B. In a game, both machines A and B select 1 ball at random. The score for the game is the product of these 2 numbers. Now product means multiply. But if you didn't know that, they'd put some numbers in the table, as they always do, for you to work out what on earth's going on. So even if you didn't know what product meant, I would hope that you can see 3 times 2 is 6, 5 times 4 is 20 and so on. So you could work it out like that. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is complete the table. 3 6s are 18, 3 8s are 24. 5 6s are 30, 5 8s are 40. 7 6s are 42, 7 8s are 56. So 2 marks for that, and then we've got this big chunk here. Now in the papers that we've been practicing in class recently, it's been much more broken down, much more structured than that. In this particular year's paper, they just leave you get on with it. So you hopefully will remember the structure that we've gone through in recent lessons. So a player wins a prize by getting a score of 12 or less. It costs 80 pence to play the game once. The prize for winning the game is £1.50. If 160 people play, find the expected profit. So first of all, you need the probability of winning. So the probability of winning is going to be the number of ways of getting 12 or less. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Out of all the numbers that are there. And all the numbers that are there, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 16 numbers there. So the chances of you winning this game are 7 out of 16. So before we worry about the money, let's see how many people you'd expect to win if 160 people play. So if 160 people play, expect how many winners? 7 out of 16 times 160. So 16 goes into 160 10 times, so it's going to be 10 lots of 7, 70 winners. Okay, or do 160 divided by 16 is 10 times 7. Right, so money in for this game. People paying 80 pence to play the game once, and 160 people play the game. So we've got to do 160 lots of 80. However you want to do that. If you want to do the, because this is a non-calculator paper, let's practice the block method. So we've got 160 80 0 0 0. 6 times 8 is 48. 6 times 0 is 0. 1 times 8 is 8, 0. Then you add up your zeros. So you've got 0, sorry, add up your diagonals. 0, 0, 8, 12, 2 down, carry 1, 1. So it's going to be 12800 pence, which is 128 pounds. So the game earns 128 pounds, but then it's got to pay out 70 lots of £1.50. Yes, we're expecting 70 winners, and each of those get £1.50. So that's going to be £70, and another £35 is £105. So the expected profit would be 128, take away 105, which is 23 pounds. Okay, so the mark scheme for that: 2 marks for filling in the table, 1 mark for 7 out of 16, 1 mark for 70, 1 mark for working out the cost, 1 mark for what comes in, 128, one mark for the 105, 1 mark for the subtraction, 1 mark for the £23. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 for that altogether. Okay, next question. At sea, the distance travelled by ships is measured in nautical miles rather than miles. The table shows the number of miles and the number of nautical miles for each of the 3 distances. Use the data in the table to draw a conversion graph between miles and nautical miles. So this is the sort of scientific graph that you'd be used to drawing in science. First thing, work out what each little square is worth. So we're going from 0 to 2 in 5 little jumps. So if you're going from 0 to 2 in 5 little jumps, or you're going from 0 to 4 in 10, might be easier for you to deal with. If you're going from 0 to 4 in 10, each little square is going to be 4 divided by 10. So each small square, 4 divided by 10, which is 0.4. So each square on each axis is 0.4. Check it: 0.4, 0.8, 1.2, 1.6, 2. So you know you're right. Number of miles, 8. So we've got miles going across and nautical miles going up. So we're going across to 8 and up to 7. And 7 is going to be halfway between 8 and 6. So it's going to be 2.5 squares down. 16 across, 14 up is going to be there, and 23 across, 20 up. So 20 is there, 22 is there, so it's going to be halfway. And then what you need to do is to join those together. Now it's a conversion graph. It should go through 0, 0. It's not a scatter graph. If you've got 0 miles, you can have nautical miles as well. Make sure that the examiner can see the points you've plotted. So put a cross there so you can see them through the line. And then to find an estimate in miles for 50 nautical miles. Nautical miles, it doesn't go up as far as 50. It doesn't go up as far as 25, so you can't find 25 and double it, but you can find 10. So 10 miles, and on your graph mark on what you're doing. Okay, so I'm reading off my graph 10 miles and then reading down to there, and that's going to be 2 squares short of 12. So 10 miles will be each little square is 0.4, so 2 squares is 0.8, so it's going to be 11.2 miles, which we have to times by 5 to make 50. 5 times 2 is 10, naught down, carry 1. 5 times 1 is 5, add 1 is 6. 5. And if you think that if that was 11 miles, 5 times 11 would be 55, so it's going to be 56.0. So for 10A, I'll check my mark scheme. 10A is 1 mark for plotting the points and 1 mark for drawing the line. And then for B, 1 for the method that you've used and 1 for getting the answer like that. So total for the page 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. And then we've got one more D grade question. So we've got coordinates. Diagram shows 2 identical parallelograms and the coordinates of the 4 vertices. Vertices means corners. Find the coordinates of the corners, vertices marked A, B and C. So they're identical. So for this point here, this point is going to have the same x coordinate as the one directly above it because it's moved the same in that way. So the x coordinate of A is going to be 11, and then the y coordinate of A is going to be the same as the y coordinate of that point there. So the y coordinate is -1. For B, if the distance moving from there to there to get from 7 to 9 is 2, then it's going to be the same there, so that one B is going to be 9, and the x coordinate is going to be the same as, hold on, okay, so that x coordinate is 11, that one's 2 bigger than it, so if that one's 19, that's going to be 2 bigger than it, which is 21. And so C is going to have an x coordinate of 21 because it's directly below B, and it's going to have a y coordinate of, so let's see here now, it is going to be 2 bigger, because that distance from there to there, that way, is going to be the same as from there to there. So it's going to be increasing by 2. So it's going to be -1, 0, 1. So 6 marks, 1 for each of the ones you get right. Okay, we'll stop there.